How big a loss for the Wizards is that to start the season after high expectations coming in after their playoff run last year? How big a loss is this, and who's going to fill his shoes?
It's a big loss in the sense that he's obviously one of their best players.
Yeah, sure.
That they remember 2 seasons ago when they lost John Wall to start the season. They started off 4-28, right. and they never got it going. They played well actually when they got him back that year, but they never got it going. So it's gonna hurt them as far as getting the chemistry with Beal and Pierce on the floor together. But I don't think it's that big a deal because if you're gonna have a 6-week injury, you much rather have it now, when you have time to tinker with the lineups, time to get young guys some burn, whether it's Glenn Rice Jr., whether Otto Porter plays a lot of minutes. You want to see those guys play anyway. The only thing, the big concern, obviously, you want Beal to be able to come back and have chemistry with the rest of the guys. But I think there's a whole January, February, March to get that done. And you don't want to burn out Paul Pierce too early. I think that's the other thing. He's capable of playing shooting guard, one of the best in the league for a long time. He's now sort of a stretch four, yeah. And you just don't want to burn him out because he's here to help close games, to win big games, April, May, hopefully further down the line.
So expect to see a lot of the younger guys, is
I
what
would
you're
say
saying.
so.
Marissa, what do you think? How big a loss is for the Wizards?
I know in Vegas it doesn't matter at all.
Really?
They didn't change any of the
expectations, really?
I think they're scheduled to win like one less game than they were before. So, but their chances of going to the playoffs and stuff don't change with his loss, which was surprising to me because I don't know, his 3-point shooting is pretty above par compared to a lot of other people on that team. I think that's going to be missed. So if they can make up for that by getting these younger guys in and I don't know, training them better to how to shoot from the perimeter or just, changing their style a little bit with Beal gone, then I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. But I think it will hurt team chemistry, I think, a little bit coming back when he gets back, when they haven't been practicing with him.
Neil?
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, yeah, like Marissa said, he shot 48.2% from the three-point arc. That was a huge improvement over the year before. Typically, that type of improvement doesn't sustain itself all that much, and that isn't a strength of John Wall. I mean, he's not a very good three-point shooter, but when you look at the offense and, points for and against with Beal on and off the court, it's worth maybe a win over a 12-game series, and that's why the Vegas odds hasn't shifted all that much. You look at when Kevin Durant went down with injury, they shut down the NBA futures book, and you weren't allowed to bet on any of the futures in terms of who would win the East, who would win. So that just shows you the different type of impact each player has on their respective teams. It's a big name, so it's I guess to Wizards fans it feels like a big deal, but we're talking about maybe 1, maybe 2 wins over the time he's going to be out 12, 15 games. It's not going to be that big of an impact.
I'm wondering, do you guys think it's going to change the personality of the team on the court? Because all this talk about sort of the Wizards being the new bad boys on the court, and Beal always seems kind of one of the nicer guys.
Nice
you don't
guy,
really see him like trying to get into it with Joakim Noah or whatever.
Right.
So it's
interesting. Well,
I feel like it might.
And you would think Porter would be the same way because he's a quiet guy, and I don't know that Glenn Rice is the most fiery guy out there on the court either.
I honestly think the biggest difference, I don't think they'll have a problem scoring. They can even go Miller. They could go Miller and Wall if they had to at guard. If late in games if they need to. Rice can score. Xavier Silas, the guy they like in camp, he can score. The question is how are they going to lock when they have another big shooting guard come into the game? Who's going to play defense on him?
My concern would be, does Wall take even more three-point shots now, which is not good for the team at all. I mean, that to me is going to be something that I would watch. Is he going to chuck more from beyond the arc?
That's got to be Pierce, right? Filling the three-point shooting.
You would think so, but John Wall, every year he's moved further and further back, and he's gotten worse and worse.
I think it could be a blessing in disguise in some ways to get Glenn Rice and Porter better minutes in games that matter, and work them into the rotation so they'll be ready come playoff time.